the way your breasts feel against my chest.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Even if you're a huge Drake fan, you might find yourself singing Not Like Us by the end of this video. If you haven't been living under a rock these past couple of weeks, you know all about the beef between Drake and Kendrick Lamar, and have heard the countless diss tracks the two have made going back and forth with each other. At first, this all seemed to be nothing more than classic rap beef. It appeared to be friendly fire back and forth about who was the better rapper, with Kendrick calling Drake a goofy and a bum, and Drake calling Kendrick a short pipsqueak. It wasn't long until the contents of each rapper's diss track took a much darker turn. This beef currently has Kendrick Lamar painted as a wife beater and Drake painted as a predator and a pedophile. And if you're a Drake fan, you probably wish this video was called "Is Kendrick Guilty?" a short synopsis of him beating women. But today's video will focus on Drake. I'm also a huge Drake fan, but I can't just stand by and pretend I haven't seen all of the incriminating evidence that has surfaced this week about Drake having questionable relationships with minors. Just as a disclaimer, I want to say that this video is not meant to send any hate, IRL, or violence anyone's way, and I do not agree with the violence that has taken place at Drake's mansion this week. With that all out of the way, in this video we'll take a deep dive into Kendrick Lamar's allegations about Drake's alleged inappropriate behaviors with minors. If this is your first time hearing about any of this, I'll briefly explain how this all started in the first place. I'll try my best to keep this intro short, seeing that these two have been beefing for over a decade now. All the way back in 2013, on the song Control by Big Sean, Kendrick said, "And that goes for Jermaine Cole, Drake, I got love for you all, but I'm trying to murder you." Not to mention, between Drake and Kendrick combined, there have been 9 4 to 7 minute long diss tracks released in 2024 alone. But let's get into it. On March 22nd, 2024, Future, Metro Boomin, and Kendrick Lamar released a song called Like That. In this song, Kendrick disses Drake and J. Cole in response to their song First Person Shooter that was released in 2023. In First Person Shooter, J. Cole raps, "Love when they argue the hardest MC, is it K. Dot, is it Aubrey or me? We the big three like we started the league, but right now I feel like Muhammad Ali." In response, on Like That, Kendrick says, "F sneak dissing First Person Shooter. I hope they came with 3 switches. And mother F the big three, it's just big me." In response, Drake released his diss track called Push-Ups on April 19th, 2024. In this song, Drake revealed that Kendrick has to give 50% of his earnings to his former label, Top Dog Entertainment. Says Kendrick's last album bricked, and says Kendrick isn't even in the big 3 at all, being surpassed by SZA, Travis Scott, and 21 Savage. Drake then doubled down, releasing another diss track called Tailor Made Freestyle, where he mocks Kendrick for taking forever to respond to his diss track, and says the reason Kendrick isn't responding yet is because he needs Taylor Swift's approval first. This song has since been taken down after Tupac's estate threatened to sue Drake for using AI to make Tupac along with Snoop Dogg rap on the song without their permission. Drake using AI to bring Tupac back to life just to diss Kendrick rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. This is also where it seems like things start to take a very dark turn in this rap beef. On April 30th, Kendrick responded with his diss track against Drake entitled Euphoria, named after the HBO TV show Drake executive produced. On this song, Kendrick calls Drake a master manipulator and habitual liar. He also calls Drake a bad father to his 6-year-old son Adonis, saying, "I got a son to raise, but I can see you don't know nothing about that." 3 days later, on May 3rd, 2024, Kendrick dropped 616 in LA. On this song, he claims to have people on the inside who work for Drake's OVO record label. The same day, Drake dropped Family Matters. On this song, Drake alleges that one of Kendrick's sons isn't biologically his. 57 minutes later, Kendrick dropped Meet the Grams. In this song, he accuses Drake of having an 11-year-old daughter and not claiming her. On May 4th, Kendrick dropped Not Like Us. Now we have finally arrived at the pedophilia allegations made against Drake. The cover art of the single is Drake's mansion with the location of 13 sex offenders pinged on a map inside of Drake's house. In the song, Kendrick says, "Hey Drake, I hear you like I'm young. To any B that talk to him and they in love, just make sure you hide your little sister from him." Then he goes on to say certified lover boy, certified pedophiles. And probably the most famous line from this song is, "Why you trolling like a bee? Aren't you tired? Trying to strike a chord and it's probably a minor." After this, on May 5th, Drake dropped The Heart Part 6, the final diss track in this saga. Well, at least the last one as of now. In his final song, Drake takes things in a pretty weird direction. He says that he expected Kendrick to call him a pedophile and makes fun of Kendrick for supposedly being essayed as a kid. He also says he's too respected and famous to be a pedo, and if he was one, he would have been arrested already. He also says, only effing with Whitney's, not Millie Bobby Brown's. I'd never look twice at no teenager. So is he saying he'd only look once? But anyway, we'll get into the Millie Bobby Brown situation later on in the video. Drake probably used this lyric as a play on words because Whitney is Kendrick's wife and Whitney Houston was with Bobby Brown. But that lyric doesn't really work when you actually had an inappropriate relationship with Millie Bobby Brown when she was a teenager. Drake goes on to double down on his accusation that Kendrick's son isn't really his, accuses Kendrick of bodying his views and comments, calls him a woman beater, and says that this rap beef was a good exercise for him. Up until before this song dropped, it seemed like 50% of people were supporting Drake and 50% were supporting Kendrick in this beef. Drake's response to being called a pedophile was pretty weird and now has even his diehard fans questioning him. Before the Heart Part 6, a lot of people were saying that they were so happy to see a new version of Drake, but now the masses have gone right back to the classic Drake jokes. For example, Drake is the type of guy to float when he smells pie type of jokes. One commenter wrote, the Heart Part 6 was literally just a bunch of, if I'm lying, why aren't my pants on fire? A lot of people are also commenting that Kendrick called Drake a pedo, and Drake's only response was, nuh-uh, or no, you. People are also wondering why Drake wouldn't just sue Kendrick for defamation after making a claim that would put him behind bars and put him on the S offender list. People are assuming that Drake won't sue Kendrick because it's not defamation if it's true. And if he sues Kendrick, the accusations will have to be thoroughly investigated to be deemed true or false. One commenter wrote, Drake won't take it to court because then everything about him would come out. In the past few days, people have been digging up a lot of evidence from Drake's past that support Kendrick's claims of him being creepy to young people. A lot of this information has already been posted on TikTok even before this rap beef, and now it's getting way more attention. It's kind of weird that Drake said in the Heart Part 6, this Epstein angle was the expected TikTok videos you collected and dissected. It's almost like Drake is trying to get ahead of the narrative and make people think that all the information on TikTok where people deep dive into his inappropriate behavior with minors and 18-year-olds is just all made up. This might be an example of the best way to hide something is in plain sight. Let's start by watching this extremely creepy video of Drake and a 17-year-old girl from one of Drake's concerts in 2010. At the time of this video, Drake was 23 years old. I'll cut off the beginning of the video because it's very inappropriate. But the video starts off by Drake inviting a girl on stage and rubbing her shoulders and hair. He's speaking and acting in a very sexual way. He says to her, I told you I like your hair. What is it? Herbal essence? It smells fresh. He then turns her around and pulls the back collar of her shirt down and starts kissing her neck. He then hugs her from behind and wraps his arm around her chest. The whole time, the crowd is cheering and cheers louder when he kisses her. He starts rubbing her shoulders, but then all of a sudden, he jumps forward to the crowd and says, hey, y'all gonna have me get carried away again. I get in trouble for like this. Then he yells to the fan, how old are you? She says 17 and Drake jumps away saying, oh no. The video is hard to hear, but some people actually think she says she's 16. Drake then says, I can't go to jail yet, man. 17, why do you look like that? You thick. Look at all of this. Well, listen, 17, I had fun. I don't know if I should feel guilty or not, but I had fun. In this situation, which I admit most people won't find themselves in, but the people that do probably would have said, I feel guilty for what I just did now knowing your age. But Drake said he didn't know if he should feel guilty after kissing and touching a 17-year-old and looked at the crowd to tell him if he should feel guilty or not. Also, Drake clearly knew she looked young, which is why he stopped in the first place. But why would he pick someone to come up on stage that he knew looked questionably young and then asks her her age after doing everything he did? Drake easily could have ended it there, but no. He keeps going and it gets 10 times worse. Drake, now knowing her age, goes on to say, I like the way your breasts feel against my chest. I just want to say thank you. Thank you. He then kisses her on her hand, then grabs her chin and kisses her on both cheeks, holds her hand, then kisses her on her forehead, then on the lips. I really do wish I was making this all up, and it does seem like he's taking a page out of Colleen Ballinger's book. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just look it up. Now let's get into Drake's questionable deleted tweets. As Drake alluded to in his song, these tweets are circulating all over TikTok. A lot of celebrities and content creators delete incriminating tweets once they become famous. And if they are already famous, they delete the tweets second after posting it if it starts to get backlash. Apparently, Drake is one of these types of celebrities. The tweets I'm about to read have Drake fans writing things like, can't defend my king on this one anymore, and I can't defend you no more, Drizzy. On May 30th, 2009, Drake tweeted, if amazing was a young bee, I'd be going to jail, cause I'm effing amazing. I'm just kind of speechless after just reading that tweet, but there's way more. On March 7th, 2012, Drake tweeted, "From Diddy View, I think I see his vision too." At the time, this probably seemed like nothing, but now we all know Diddy is being investigated by the FBI for child trafficking. On July 15th, 2013, Drake tweeted, "I can't wait till she's 18, with a smiley face." Now, I really have no words for this one either. On February 16th, 2016, he wrote, "If she's 16, I'm 16. This had 95,000 retweets and 99,000 likes, which is also pretty concerning. On August 10th, 2022, he wrote, "Predator weak as hell in this movie. LOL, put me in there and I'll show him a real predator." He deleted this tweet seconds later for obvious reasons. People are also using Drake's own song lyrics to incriminate him. In his song Houston Land of Vegas, released in 2009, Drake raps, "You go get effed up, we just show up at your rescue, carry you inside, get you some water and undress you. I give you my all and the next morning you'll forget who, or why, or how, or when. Tonight it's probably about to happen all over again." This is just word for word the events of an essay. I don't know why Drake would even go through with releasing this song, let alone he could rap this in the booth and feel 100% comfortable and okay with it. Now this song is about a stripper who obviously wouldn't be a minor at the time, but these lyrics shine a light on what could potentially be Drake's predatory nature. On his song Nice for What, Drake says, "You got some bad friends, high school pics, you was even bad back then." I never really thought about this lyric at first, but with all of these new allegations, it hasn't really aged well. Drake also has a song from 2017 called Teenage Fever, where he says, "This shit feels like teenage fever. I ain't scared of it. She ain't neither." Now, here are some more Drake lyrics that have aged terribly and are getting put underneath a microscope after all these allegations came out. "I used to know you back when you was young. Your brother brought me through, you saw me. That made me think of you so differently. I miss the feeling of you missing me." Redemption by Drake 2016. "Back that thing up, it's a wide load. Don't even know where the time goes. You know some brand new life goals. Baby blue, but you not a baby, I know. Mom and daddy didn't really get along. Heard you got some brand new life goals. Baby blue, but you not a baby, I know. Her daddy is not around, her mama is not around. I watch her climb to the top of the pole and then get it to make it rain in this bee." TSU by Drake 2021. Before this controversy, this song didn't seem that weird, but making a song about a girl going to Texas Southern University and then becoming a stripper because she has mommy and daddy issues and tells Drake she isn't a baby anymore really isn't helping Drake's case of trying to convince the world he's not a creep. Keep in mind, Drake is 37 years old and was 34 when this was released, while college girls start college at 18 years old. Drake has a history of dating girls as soon as they turn 18. Which I'll get into later in the video. Some people may say that it's okay to date an 18-year-old because it's technically legal and the legal age of consent in Canada is 16. But is it really okay when you've been waiting around for years for the day they turn 16 or even 18, depending on the laws in whatever country he's in at the time? But back to the lyrics. "You bees really get carried away. Making mistakes, then you beg me to stay. Got me wigging on you like I'm arrogant Tay. You got my mind in a terrible place. Whipped and chained you like American slaves." Now, Drake's main ammo against Kendrick is that Kendrick beats women. But apparently, Drake does too if this lyric is based on reality. Also, a side note, a lot of people turned against Drake in his beef once he said to Kendrick on Family Matters, "Always rapping like you about to get the slaves freed." Drake is Canadian and biracial, raised by his white mother, and his black father was absent. So a lot of people understandably get very offended when Drake speaks about American slaves. To this, Kendrick responded to Drake on Not Like Us, rapping, "They not like us. Once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still doubled down calling us some slaves. You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. No, you're not a colleague, you're a effing colonizer." To explain in a different way why Drake is wrong here, pretend I have Irish descent in me, but was raised with absolutely no Irish culture. What if I moved to Ireland and took on an entire Irish persona, even faking an Irish accent? And because of my skin color, I can fit in. What if I become the most rich and famous Irish musician in the world? Then after that, I started calling Irish people a bunch of slurs, laughed in their face, and made fun of them for starving and dying during the potato famine. I'm pretty sure that would be wrong. This is exactly how people feel when Drake talks about American slavery. And after Kendrick told Drake not to say the N-word anymore in Euphoria, Drake started his next diss track, Family Matters, with referring to Kendrick as the N-word, right off the bat. But again, I've always been a huge fan of Drake, but I can't condone his behavior. I'm not saying Drake isn't allowed to say the N-word or shouldn't rap in America because he's a biracial Canadian, but I'm just saying it would probably be in his best interest to stop talking about American slaves and then using the N-word to provoke an American rapper on purpose. Now let's get into Drake's public inappropriate relationships with underage girls. The first person on this list who Drake appears to have had an inappropriate relationship with when they were a minor is Kylie Jenner. At Kylie Jenner's Sweet 16 party, Drake was pictured hugging her around her neck and holding her face while kissing her on the cheek. At the time of this photo, Drake was 27 years old and she obviously just turned 16. Next is Bella Harris, who is a model and actress. On May 5th, 2016, Bella posted a picture to her Instagram. It was a selfie with her and Drake, with Drake laying his head on her shoulder. At the time, Bella was 16 and Drake was 28. 2 years later, Drake shut down an entire restaurant to have dinner with Bella as soon as she turned 18. Bella was then rumored to be Drake's girlfriend while she was still 18 years old. Also, on October 24th, 2016, while Bella was 16 years old, she posted a photo of herself wearing no pants and only a sweatshirt with Drake's OVO owl logo on it. The caption read, "Happy birthday, old man, as Champagne Poppy, cheers to hashtag more life." On this post, Drake commented heart eyes and grinning emojis. When she was 16 and Drake was 28, she also posted pictures of her with him hugging backstage at his concert and at the AMAs. On the concert photo, Drake commented Young Bella B and commented a grin and a flower emoji on the AMA photo. Next is Stranger Things actress Millie Bobby Brown. Drake has been pictured with her from when she was as young as 14 years old. The next video I'll show you is an Access Hollywood interview from the Emmys red carpet. At the time of this interview, Millie was 14 and Drake was 31. During the interview, Millie tells the reporters that she and Drake just texted each other the other day and he told her he missed her. She says she's so excited to meet up with him when he comes back to Atlanta soon. The reporter asks what advice Drake gives her and what else he says in the text messages. And Millie says, about boys. He helps me. He's great. He's wonderful. I love him. The reporter asks, what advice about boys? And Millie says, you know, that stays in the text messages.
Tell me about your friendship. How did this all come about?
I love him. I met him in Australia and he's honestly so fantastic and a great friend and a great role model. You know, we just text each other the other day and he was like, I miss you so much. I was like, I miss you more. He's coming to Atlanta, so I'm definitely going to go and see him. I'm so excited, yeah.
You and Drake? That's awesome. That's awesome.
What advice does he give you? Like, what does he say?
About boys. He helps me.
What?
Yeah. He's great. He's wonderful. I love him.
What's his advice with boys?
You know, that stays in the text messages.
I really don't know what boy advice a 31-year-old man could possibly give a 14-year-old girl without it being creepy. In another interview with W Magazine in 2018, 14-year-old Millie talks about her first time meeting Drake. She says she first met Drake in an Australian hotel, and he was acting like a huge fanboy. She says they started texting all the time after meeting each other. She says he took her out to dinner the day they met. He took her out again the next day, and he met up with her in Sydney, Australia after that. Next is Aya Tinjali. If I'm pronouncing that wrong, I apologize. Just put in the comments how I'm supposed to pronounce it. On a stream with Twitch streamer Young Dabo, Aya talks about how she knows Drake and is followed by Drake's dad. You might recognize Aya because Ice Spice received a lot of backlash after having Aya dance in one of her music videos when Aya was only 16 years old. Dabo asks Aya what she thinks about the Drake allegations, and she says she can't speak on them, because if she did, it would be taken to court. He asks if she would let Drake have sex with her, and she says that's something she can't confess. She quickly corrects herself and says it's something she can't talk about. People are thinking she said confess because of the Freudian slip, and might not be able to talk about it because she signed an NDA.
Wait, they said Drake dad follow you? Who do? Be honest, what do you think about the Drake allegations?
Yes, speak on it.
Would you let
That's
Drake? Would you let Drake like you?
That'll be something I can't confess. I mean, not confess, something I can't talk about because that'll be in the court.
The court. Drake.
What?
You're a
Okay.
victim?
No. Of course not.
Wait, so what you said about the? Why you said it'll be in the court?
Because that'll be something
Oh, you can't speak about it right now?
that I can't speak about. Yeah.
More and more evidence against Drake is stacking up each day. So if you know anything I may have missed, let me know in the comments below. Also let me know if you're saying OV ho right now. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to get us one step closer to 200,000 subscribers. And I'll see you in the next video.